So, welcome to day 7 of the Path of Meditation, our 30-day meditation course. Thanks for being here and thanks for committing to your own growth and practice. Today, I wanted to share along the way about the importance of humor and just being where we are and giving ourselves a little bit of grace. So, today's book is by an amazing, um, I believe he's from Burma, Burmese monk named Bhante G, who's written some incredibly simple, um, very easy to digest. I mean, I think this whole book is, it's really thin, but it's very straightforward. Can't recommend it enough. And there's a lot of humor in just his really straightforward approach. So we'll come back to that. But for now, you can get ready for the practice. If you feel like sitting in a chair, that works. Otherwise, find your way to a cushion, something like where you can elevate your hips a little bit more than the knees, and sitting in a way where your spine can be straight but not rigid. Just notice how when you straighten your spine, there's this gentle lift of the chest, shoulders drop. The little trick that I've used over the years that I heard in a meditation class was imagine a string that starts at the base of the spine and comes out the top of the head, and that string is just gently being tugged upwards. Again, not adding more rigidity. We still want to be relaxed. And your hands can go on your knees or in your lap. You could put the right hand in the palm of the left with the thumbs touching, or just keep it simple with your hands on your knees or your legs, wherever they fall. You can close your eyes or leave the eyes open with a soft gaze 4 to 6 feet in front of you, not really looking at anything, just letting the eyes relax. Either way is fine. And then just go through your body really quickly, maybe starting from the head and noticing if there's any tension in your jaw and shoulders and anywhere else that might need a little bit of an adjustment before we dive further. And notice how just this posture already starts to shift your experience. And then from here, finding the breath and just noticing where you connect to your breath and your body. And just placing your attention there. Following the breath as it goes in and out. And we've referred to the breath or the focus of our attention as a home base in previous days. Another way that you might think about the breath is like an anchor. And just like when you drop an anchor in a boat, the boat stops moving so much. There's still some movement in the water. Boat's going to go a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's not going to completely drift away. And so, in the same way as we're focusing on our breathing, we might notice thoughts and sounds and sensations, emotions, but we don't have to let them carry us away. We can simply return back to our anchor, this breath that's helping us stay present. And you can use the word thinking to assist with this process. So when you notice that the mind has started to drift, or maybe completely transitioned into some sort of daydream or other thought, when you notice it, just say thinking as a way to let go of that and come back to the breath. Just continuing to bring the mind back to the breath whenever you notice wandering or distraction. Letting this be a gentle process. Just noticing that the thoughts and things that were in the mind when we first began have already shifted. There's probably a whole new current of thought pulling you away from just being here. Just remembering that the practice is about noticing and coming back to your focus. It's not about being perfect. See if you can let go of any expectations and just practice just for the joy of practice. And when we can practice in this way, we're letting go of what the ego or the mind might tell us we need or that we should have already. And we're tapping into a really powerful truth about cause and effect and how they're linked together. And this is really the basis of what we call karma, is that when we put the right causes, the right actions into practice, the effect is inevitable. Sometimes really complicated to understand, but that's the basis of it. Just like if I started doing push ups every day, inevitably my chest is going to get stronger. If I show up to class and do my homework every day, someday I'm going to pass that class. If I put all the wheels, four wheels, and on a chassis and have doors and windows and a steering wheel and all the different parts are put together, eventually I'll have a car. And there's a I find that there's a humor to this simplicity. And I opened this book this morning thinking about humor, and I opened right to the right page apparently. When he says trying too hard, expecting too much, and getting discouraged. People of long experience in meditation are often pretty jovial people. They possess one of the most valuable of all human treasures, a sense of humor. They can laugh at their own human failures. They can chuckle at personal crisis. Beginners in meditation, on the other hand, are too much, often much too serious for their own good. They're tensed and striving, overly eager for results, taking it all very, very seriously. Beginners are often full of enormous and inflated expectations. They jump right in and expect incredible results in no time flat. They push, they tense, they sweat and strain, and it's all so terribly grim and solemn. This state of tension is the antithesis of mindfulness, and so naturally, they achieve little. When they decide that this meditation is not so exciting after all, it's not giving them what they wanted, they chuck it aside. You learn about meditation only by meditating. You learn what meditation is all about and where it leads only through direct experience of the thing itself. Therefore, beginners don't know where they're headed because they have developed little sense of where practice is leading. Newcomers in meditation expect all the wrong things, and those expectations do no good at all. Trying too hard leads to rigidity and unhappiness, to guilt and self condemnation. When you're trying too hard, your effort becomes mechanical, and that defeats mindfulness before it gets started. You're well advised to drop all that. Drop your expectations and straining. Simply meditate with a steady and balanced effort. Enjoy your meditation and don't load yourself down with sweat and struggles. Let it be simple. Just be mindful. the meditation itself will take care of the future. I found this to really be true, and it's hard to explain that to people, especially when they're in that real beginning stage and we're doing something that's so simple, just watching our breath, and yet discovering how incredibly challenging that can be. Um, I do agree with the quote that there's a humor in it, and that some of my favorite teachers have a lot of humor about our human predicament. In fact, uh, there's another quote that I really like from Bhante G, and with the risk of getting a little bit dark in the humor, usually I pull this one out when someone comes out of a meditation and they're like, really, really, oh my God, that was so hard. I, I don't know how I just sat through that. How do you do this? And there's a lot of humor to this that I find personally. And it's somewhere in this process, you'll come face to face with the sudden and shocking realization that you're completely crazy. Your mind is a shrieking, gibbering madhouse on wheels, barreling pell-mell down the hill, utterly out of control and hopeless. No problem. You're not any crazier than you were yesterday. It's actually always been this way. You just never noticed. You're also no crazier than everybody else around you. The only difference is that you have confronted the situation and they have not. So again, just some gentle humor about like where we are and the enormity of trying to deal with the mind. And whether you want to call that the monkey mind and the challenges of chasing the monkey around and trying to catch it, or a little dark humor there. I think there's something very valuable about just sort of giving up expectations and just practicing, and like you said, letting the practice take care of itself. I don't have to worry about making my chest bigger as long as I'm doing those push-ups every day. The result is going to follow. Things are going to happen. You're going to get to know yourself um, over time, right? But as long as we can just kind of give up the expectation and just do the practice. And certainly we've talked about like some other techniques if, just sitting and watching your breath feels like overwhelming, right?